well. Had a busy week. We were in Naples, Florida, from Sunday through Thursday at a baseball ministry conference, and then went over to did some wedding stuff for Jackson, and then we went to the Morgan Wallen Parker McCollum concert on Saturday.
Wow.
And now back in Oklahoma.
Do you get VIP treatment? Come on, tell us about that. Come on.
Sort of. Parker and I are friends. I don't know Morgan Wallen at all, but Parker did get us seats down, or I guess it's standing down in the pit. So it was at the Braves Stadium. So it was cool. There was a ton of people there, and so my daughter's a huge Morgan Wallen fan, and so we got to stand right down there by the stage for several hours with no place to sit down. So it was a test of standing. Standing, it was a lot like spring training. Your feet, you walk away, and your feet hurt, but it was a good time.
Is Parker the one who sings "Pretty Heart"? Is that his song?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a great one.
Yep.
Morgan Wallen.
So the hot stove is about to get fired up around Major League Baseball, and obviously this is probably the most important offseason for the Cardinals in a long time. They say talk about starting pitching, 2 frontline starters. Is there a starter out there that's either a free agent or seemingly available via the trade market that you think the Cardinals should go after? All the names out there, I'm sure you read, who's available, who's not. Is there a guy you would like to see them go after?
Well, I think the one that everybody has seemed to be tied to is Nola, which, I think would be a good fit. His postseason resume lately has been really good. He has, ways to get guys out, different ways, a good breaking ball. He could throw 2 different breaking balls. So I think he's the one that is seemingly at the top of the list from what I read. I played with Sonny Gray in New York. I think he'd be a good fit. I don't know what their budget is, but if they could walk away with those 2, I would feel real good about it. But I guess it probably just comes down to what the market is for these guys. I know the Phillies would really like to bring Nola back. I also read where he has interest in going back to Philly. So sometimes it's out of your control where, a guy has a liking for where he was, he was and wants to go back there. And if Philly's in the same ballpark as the other bids, he might go back there and it might be out of the Cardinals' control. So a lot of this has to do with, each individual case is what the market ends up being for each pitcher. But those 2, kind of stand out to me. I mean, obviously, Blake Snell brings a lot of swing and miss and has the ability to strike guys out, which is appealing. So, I don't know what his market will look like, but, and then you got guys like Corbin Burns and some of these high-level pitchers that seem to be available on the trade market, but, for a guy like Corbin Burns, it would probably cost you, Mason Wynn or, Jordan Walker or somebody like that as far as, getting a bona fide ace away from, a team in your division. So, it'll be an interesting offseason. Obviously, coming off a season where the Cardinals were, not used to finishing and how quickly they can sort of, right the ship and sort of get some momentum going back in the other direction. If you go out and sign Nola and sort of announce to the baseball world that you're making a push and then all of a sudden maybe, Sonny Gray perks up and is interested in joining forces or somebody like that, then maybe you get that momentum going back and sign 2 or 3 guys, maybe a position player or 2, or you look at maybe some possible trades where you could package some guys to get some bullpen pieces, something like that. So it'll be interesting next month or 2.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy lift. There's 6, 7 teams that probably need 2 starters and teams with very deep pockets. So they got their work cut out for them. But I'm going to ask you this as someone who knows more about baseball than me. Let's say the Cardinals figure it out, okay? They figure it out, and they get 2 frontline starters. It could, let's say a Nola type, a Gray type, okay? And then maybe a piece for the for the bullpen too. If they do that, do you think they're good enough to be back in contention to go deep into the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I really do. I mean, I think that when you look at last year's team, I think that, before they traded Montgomery, and there's another guy, Jordan Montgomery, who I would assume had a positive experience in St. Louis, potentially bringing him back. I think before, you traded Montgomery and you sort of waved the flag. The biggest issue was blown leads late in the game, and so I think at one point they had blown the most saves, sort of the most leads after the seventh inning. And so I don't think they were as far off as maybe when you look at the end of the season and where the record was. You rewind back to the trade deadline and then maybe even a couple weeks before that, and you start looking at sort of how they got to where they got to, and a lot of it had to do with just losing games late. And so I do think that there's some addressing of the back end of the bullpen that needs to be addressed and sort of solidifying that. I do see that in the postseason where, these seventh, eighth, and ninth inning, pitchers that these other teams have are very, very difficult to score on. And you win those games that you take leads into the seventh inning. So I think that was the major problem they had last year. But obviously those guys pitch better when the starters get them deeper in the games, then you don't have to use them as much. So it all works together. But I for sure think that if you address a couple starting pitchers and maybe add a couple bullpen arms, I know that's a lot, but I do think that would really push them back into at least the possibility of winning the division. And then once you get in, as the Rangers and Diamondbacks proved, anything can happen. But I do think that they're closer maybe than maybe some people think.
Okay, that was kind of going to be my question, which Jim took part of it, and it's all good. But see, I think we're focusing so much. No, I think we're focused so much on pitching, and I totally get it. But I think from just a discussion standpoint, it's interesting because last year also, the whole Cardinal way we always talk about, the defense was sloppier. The base running was sloppier. And a guy like Jordan Walker, he was learning the outfield. But I do feel like, you have really good position players, and you have Arenado and Goldie, and they're Hall of Fame type players, but they're not young. You still got to figure out the outfield. I guess I'm just saying, we know pitching is number one, but there were a lot of other things last year that kind of fell off too.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you lose, you start breaking down every part of the game, which is fine, and you should. But you have a pool of money, and if you look at where would you like to expend it, I definitely think that's where it's going to go. Now, you hope that a year under his belt that Jordan Walker comes back and makes a 20%. Sort of improvement on what he did last year. And you hope that the fact that he's played a full season in the major leagues allows him to free up and play a better brand of defense and base running. And then you got a guy like Mason Wynn who got his feet wet and you have a chance to be your shortstop and everybody will be healed up seemingly come spring training, and guys that were banged up a lot of the year. I agree with you. I mean, you still have to figure out what you're going to do with Tyler O'Neill and Dylan Carlson and, if those are your guys or if you're looking to trade those guys and, you start to try to fit roles with roster. Is their offense and defense perfect? No, but I don't think it has to be perfect if you go out and add a couple of rotation arms and some back end of the bullpen. But I don't think that there's a ton of space to go out and add extra offensive players. But sure, could you make sure that you're fine-tuning and attention to detail on base running and defense is sort of refocused, of course. But I do think that some of these young players with experience will be better for it.
Yeah, and to be clear, I wasn't saying to spend money on those guys. It was more about the coaching staff and Ollie, like you said. If that's something that you can clean up over the winter into spring training, just some of that kind of sharp baseball stuff?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that I think that these young guys, particularly. I mean, I don't know what with the Arenado metrics. I don't know what that was as far as defense goes. So you start looking at, okay, well, where's some of the differences between this year and previous years? Well, Nolan's his defensive run saved or whatever defensive metrics they use that seemingly were not as good. So asking why, and obviously would be at the top of the list to tell you why. I think the metrics later in the season were much better. But yeah, I mean, Charlie, I think that when you look at your team and your job as the front office and manager and coaches is to say, well, how do we have impact? How can we improve this team? What can we do outside of what Mo does as far as the roster goes? Well, how do I take the players we have and make them better? And how can we increase our odds of having a championship caliber season? And attention to detail and defense and base running and mental approach and situational hitting and all the things that really are the small things, seemingly small things, add up to really big things when it comes to winning games that are close. And so I think, as a winning organization, you pride yourself on doing the little things well and better than everybody else. And that ultimately allows you to win, that handful of games that those things matter. And so I do think that do you need a couple big frontline pitchers? Yes, of course you do. But you also need to, as a staff, pay attention to small details and make sure that you address those and however you feel necessary, whether it's spring training or in the off season, you make sure that you talk about them or suggest to each player maybe what they could improve on in the small details to help the team become back to where we all expect it to be.
I don't know about the metrics, but one thing was pretty clear to me. Nolan Arenado was none too pleased with the way things went last year, not just with the way the team played, but also his own performance. I really hope he's back, and I'm going to infringe on our tight relationship. We're practically next-door neighbors, you and I, in the past.
Yep.
But I don't know if you've talked to him, but I get the impression, and I hope he's back, he is going to be a man possessed next year, and we're going to see, because when he's angry, he gets things done, and I think he wants to have a total turnaround from what was last year. Do you see that? And then have you talked to him at all about it?
Yeah, I mean, here's a future Hall of Famer, and I think a couple weeks into the off season, after he got he's got back healthy and his back was feeling better, he's revamped his whole nutrition and workout program, and he's very, very motivated, self-motivated, always has been since the day I met him. And so you're right. I mean, this guy, for a guy that has, all the money he could possibly need and has had a tremendous career, he's as motivated and he thinks about baseball as much as anybody I've ever been around. So he's sending me videos of his swing, and he's talking to me about his new training regimen and what he feels like he needs to do to stay, feel great and feel healthy and be on the field and produce. And he's a guy that it comes from the inside, that you don't have to call Nolan Arenado, or you don't have to motivate Nolan Arenado to get ready for the season or to talk to him about what this guy is, like I said, he and I became fast friends when I saw like the internal motivation and the love for baseball, the love of practicing baseball, to study the swing and all those things. So I mean, he and Goldie both, like you're talking about, okay, yeah, these guys are getting older, but these are the kind of older guys you want. I mean, these are the guys that are very much dedicated to their craft, extremely disciplined, and it's the reason they've had the careers they've had. And so these are the leaders, these are the older guys, and maybe as they get older, you start to look for a few more days off here and there, and maybe make sure you use the DH as best as possible to keep them as fresh as possible for their production. But these are elite level competitors, performers, leaders, and so I'm not worried about him at all. And I think he's in a like you said, he's very motivated and always has been. So I don't think that anything last year was out of the lack of motivation. I just think that he just wasn't happy with how it went, and he's reevaluating everything that he did, down to the smallest little details.
At what point did you realize that baseball was going to be your future and not football?
Oh, wow.
I know. That came out of
That's
nowhere.
Cole.
Damn, Cole.
I always loved baseball. My dad was a baseball coach, and I sort of got good at football later, and I just realized that, when you're talking about a job or training for something and practicing something, I love to practice baseball and train for baseball. I mean, I loved playing football games, but the tediousness of a 5-day practice week, and then, I didn't love quite as much as the day in, day out idea of games and grinding through, long seasons of games. So I would tell people I loved baseball, I liked football, and that ultimately was helped me make my decision and what I wanted to pursue.
Baseball is more fun to play, in my opinion. Football is not fun to play. I didn't have fun playing it.
Well, I was the quarterback, so
that's
it was a little more fun.
Yeah.
Get more influence over the game.
Yeah, way more, man. But, hey, man, appreciate you coming on. And do you say Jackson's getting married?
Yeah,
Wow.
January.
Wow. Tell him congratulations. Go ahead, Charlie, you got one more for him?
Well, Matt, do you have somewhere to go?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I was curious, and then you brought up Jackson. I'm thinking, because you're obviously, you're a great baseball player, but now you're this baseball dad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put too much, pressure on your kids. I'm trying to think, though, in terms of brothers, who would have been the best baseball brothers? Was it the Deans? Was it the Ripkins? Like, in terms of having two brothers that really did well in Major League Baseball.
I like the Alous.
Oh, the Alous. There you
because
go.
there were three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I think the Upton brothers were both drafted in the top 3, I want to say. Maybe didn't have quite the career as far as longevity that some of these other guys you're talking about. But they were both drafted really high. There's actually a brother combo in the big leagues, the Lows, right now.
Yeah.
Lau. I don't know if they say it Lau or Low. That are both in the major leagues, and the actually the Nolas are both having successful major league careers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's been a lot as far as brothers in the major leagues, and so yeah, I don't know that. I think the Uptons is, from what I've heard, is the 2 highest drafted brothers. As far as I think you guys would have to help me correct, but I think Justin went first, and maybe BJ was top 3 or
that
something
sounds
like
right.
that. But yeah, so there's an opportunity for these boys to do something cool and to have long major league careers. Hopefully, if they're willing to put in the work. But I've enjoyed sharing passion with the 2 oldest boys and be able to. Like last night, it was 9:00 and they're sitting around and they're like, "Hey, let's go hit," because we have a newly finished cage about 100 yards from us in the barn, and so I'm ready to go to bed, and they want to go hit and me to throw to them, and so which it would cost me another shower, and so I was like, "All right, this is what they want to do, this is what they like to do, and even though it's 9:00 on a Sunday night, then I'll go throw to them."
That's
cool.
I like that.
We went and hit for an hour, and but that's something that is fun. It's like I said, sharing a passion with your kids is a pretty awesome thing.
And I know I asked you a version of this question the last time you were on, but we then saw the video of you, just beautiful line drive home run to left center, and I'm wondering, because I'm sure you track all this, is your exit velo still better than Jackson's?
They hit a few that were right there with me. We were doing a video for the Baseball Bat Bros. It's a YouTube channel, and it's aluminum bat testing. And so the baseball bat bro, brought all of our high school bats. So we had a home run derby, and yeah. I mean, they're fast in catching up with their dad. So, but I still got it.
Yeah, you do.
So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time, and I think that video will be out. I don't know when he's going to release it. I think he talked about releasing it pretty soon, but then he also talked about waiting until baseball season for people to be more interested. But there'll be a YouTube video with a home run derby between the three of us. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I have to say, this is just inside baseball, pun intended, but the ad rates for YouTube are the best during the holidays. So he should release it right before Christmas.
Doubt.
Yeah, maybe I should text him. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not up to date on all that stuff, but I think there's some pretty good momentum for people to watch it. But it'll be a good watch. I think it was funny and good entertainment.
Cool.
I think we're going to have our own home run derby too, but Tyler's going to be pitching to us, so we'll send you that clip as well. You can just post that right next to the with yours.
Sure.
It's gonna be
whatever y'all need. Yeah.
Wait till Christmas.
Split screen.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all right, Matty.
Matt.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Okay.
See you, dude.
Thanks.
guys.
See ya.
Right
That's
on.
great.
Matty Holliday doing his
I love
thing.
I
He
love
likes
the
to
dad.
hang out and talk.
He does.
He does.
Doesn't he
No.
want to? Once he's on,
He's
he doesn't
great.
want to get off.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, and I love the dad stuff because it's like if you got kids, none of them are going to be first-round picks, and to hear him talk about that, is really cool. He's still just a dad.
I mean, if they both go 1-1,
Oh, God.
that's insane.
Insane.
I forgot about the Uptons.
Here's a couple more. Baseball brothers.
I'll take you to
DiMaggio,
lose.
Pedro and Ramon Martinez, Nick Kroos, Molinas, Almars, Cedars.
Yeah, we
Brett.
forgot about the Molina.
Yeah, I forgot a lot.
Hockey Bob wanted us to talk about the Suter brothers with Matt Holliday.
Oh, there's
We'll do that next time.
Sutter.
Sutter.
But yeah, that lot in hockey.
Oops.
Somebody else want to know if Jackson's going to get a prenup. I don't know about that yet.
I'm sure Matt would have offered on that.
I mean, he is pretty young, but
I thought the Arenado stuff is good because they are friends, and he don't want to be like you. But he did talk. He's talked to him.
yeah.
Arenado sending him video is pretty cool. I would clip that off and put that bite out tonight.
Good to know.
I thought we had a pretty good show today.
I thought we did too.
Got
that
hooked
was
up
not-
with a nice present.
That was 9:56.
We talked about. Do we do a pretty good job?
Yeah, we got all of our
We got-
sponsors taken care of. And just one more, just for fun. Thank you for texting in on the Audi Exchange Kirkwood text line.
Audi Exchange Kirkwood text line. It was blowing up today. You guys were great.
And
Thank
that's
you.
a day.
That's a damn good day.
Thank you for Saturday.
That was a good Monday.
Oh my
We
goodness.
talked about everything.
Woo!
Hot Take Central's having a great 3-day stretch.
Wow, baby.
So wait,
Wow.
we had a bad show on what? That means we had a bad show on Wednesday?
No, it was the last Monday where we didn't talk football. And Jimmy and I were talking about showering. Yeah, showering.
Well, I was
for
there
30
for that.
seconds.
And I don't even remember
Well, we
talking
didn't.
about it.
It was just between Cole and Tuna and their grievance text exchange.
I'm going to make you a star.
These guys don't know what they're doing.
Oh, what are they talking about? They
These
didn't
guys
break
can't-
down that football.
They can't break
we
down
did
the
it
Jaguars.
today, didn't we? We did it today,
Can't
didn't
break
we?
down the Falcons like we can.
All right. Andy Van Slyke.